Hello everyone, Triple S back here with some more Without Within 2. Now, this game seems to be a little bit different from the last one. It's certainly longer, I know that. And there's barely been any options. Well, barely. There hasn't been any options of, different things to do. So we're just going to have to keep going and see what happens. I don't know. I hope I don't have to go through the entire beginning bit again if I pick a wrong option and, die or something, I don't know. But anyway, let's continue. I looped the... also, sorry about coughing. I looped the napkin around my neck, just like Excelsior. I'm gonna keep saying it. Did. Fake it till you make it, as people always said. I might have just taken my first step towards stardom. Excelsior started to cut her burger with a knife and fork. If I cooked her a bowl of rice, would she cut the grains one by one? Rich people simply refuse to ever get their hands dirty. Determined to follow in Excelsior's footsteps, I picked up my utensils. The sausage kept bouncing off my knife like a cockroach darting past a pair of slippers. I peeked at Excelsior and realised I held my knife and fork the way around. As I shifted the knife to my right hand, I managed to slice the sausage apart. As Excelsior and I dined, a few people came by to snap pictures of each other. Wait, what? I could have sworn I've already read this part before. I think I just confused myself. I've just got to slow down my reading. Goddamn, I was reading too fast. As Excelsior and I dined, a few people came by to snap pictures of us. It sure felt nice to be recognised. Yes, I knew these people came for Excelsior, just let me drown in my fantasy for a while. A male fan walked a little too close with that camera, and one of Excelsior's guards stood up to shoo him off, or away, either one. Excelsior usually charged money for photos in conventions, so it made sense. When Excelsior finished her meal, she tapped the napkin against her lips. I copied her right away, since this too could be part of her winning formula. Thank you for treating me, really. I really hope I can shout you back someday, I said. Excelsior waved her hands to indicate there was no need. Me, shouting Excelsior. Yeah, maybe some ice cream in a convenience store. By the way, would you mind taking a picture with me? I asked, hoping I might receive better treatment than those fans from earlier. Excelsior glanced towards one of her guards, who waved a hand across his neck to indicate no. In the end, all Excelsior could offer me was an apologetic smile. I considered reminding Excelsior to plug my work on social media, but I'd already troubled her enough, so I got up in silence and returned to my seat beside that sleeping couple. After getting a taste of first class, the chairs back here felt so cramped. If I forced some of those rich snobs to sit here, the shock might cause them to have seizures. I stared out my window at the darkened sky. The sun must have gone to sleep during my time with Excelsior. I sighed, feeling disappointed that I had missed the sunset, but at least I still had the sunrise to catch tomorrow morning. Without those blinking lights on the wing, I might have thought someone had painted the window black. Riding a plane did have its boring parts after all. Might as well try and sleep, but I wanted to savour every second I had on this plane. Unlike the couple next to me, I had no idea when I would get another chance to travel. Besides, I doubted I could sleep much in this small space anyway. Oh well, let me shut my eyes and try to sneak in a nap. I thought I'd only taken a quick snooze, but when I opened my eyes, the glaring sunlight made me squint. Turned out I was one of the select few who could sleep on a plane. If I'd known, I would have set my phone alarm so I could see the sunrise. Drifting through the clouds fascinated me at first, but by now they amused me no more than the night sky. At least riding a bus meant having traffic to look at. But then I glanced down and spotted the landscape situated miles below, so we must be nearing our destination. We first passed a maze of treetops, and as we advanced, more and more buildings started to emerge. The traffic below also picked up in number. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. A flight attendant's voice sounded through the speakers. Oh, she spoke in a formal tone as if recording an audiobook. We are arriving in Melbourne Airport, the lady continued. Please return to your seats and fasten your belts as we prepare for landing. The couple beside me already had their seatbelts on. Jeez, they could have nudged me awake. If I had stayed asleep, I doubt if they would have bothered strapping me in. I quickly clicked on my seatbelt, worried our plane might land in the next second. The lady next to me yawned, showing no interest in watching this plane land. Her loss, I thought as I gazed out the window. I could hardly make out the buses below, let alone the people. Perhaps that was how Excelsior saw the rest of us no-name calligraphers. I was going to say calligraphers then. Ugh. The plane swayed back and forth as it descended towards the airport ahead. Any time now, I thought. 5 minutes passed and we still had yet to land. My ears started to throb as if someone was gushing water into them. I had read online that chewing gum while landing could help with this type of discomfort. Yes, I always did my research before embarking on an adventure. Too bad I left my chewing gum back in the apartment, making it all kinds of pointless. Cabin crew prepared for landing, gave them the announcement, but either the speakers sounded muffled or my right ear needed to get checked. At least it still worked. It still worked. Okay, it still worked better than my left ear, which could no longer pick up a single sound. I hoped both ears would be fine again once I landed. At last, the plane descended into Melbourne Terminal. I waited for the wheels, which I assumed were lowered at this point, to make contact with the runway. Whee! I'd never been on a plane, by the way, so I'm experiencing all this with it. As those wheels met the pavement underneath, I swallowed my gasp and managed to save myself the embarrassment of freaking out. The plane did weigh, gosh, I had no idea how much, so I should have expected the landing would be pretty rough. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Melbourne Airport. I beamed upon hearing that announcement. Well, under my right ear heard a muffled version of it, but all good. The staff spoke on through the speakers. The local time is 20 minutes past 10 in the AM. For your safety, please wait for the seatbelt sign to turn off before making your exit. The couple beside me had already unclipped their belts. The second our plane had stopped, they rose to retrieve their luggages from the cabinet overhead. Perhaps they might be getting mine as well? The couple clicked their cabinet closed with my backpack left inside. They used their suitcases like bowling balls and knocked people aside as they headed for the exit. Never should have expected anything from people like that. I wish I could have spent this whole flight with Excelsior instead. When I untied the seatbelt and stood to grab my backpack, a staff ran over to help. That kid nearby giggled at me again. If karma existed, he should grow up to become a shorty. I remembered thank you as the staff handing me my backpack. As I strapped on my bag, the other passengers lined up across the aisle to exit this plane. Not one of them offered me space to squeeze in. In the end, I waited for every last person to pass before stepping out. A pair of flight attendants stood by the door. As I passed them, they bowed and wished me a nice day. The ear popping and landing might be rough, but riding a plane still made me feel like royalty. I offered the staff a wave as if I were the queen on a parade. Rather than checking the signs, I trailed the other passengers since they too must be leaving the airport. The Excelsior would have stood out with the rub and sparkles, but she was nowhere in sight. The staff must have let her exit first, being a frequent flyer and all. Still, knowing the Excelsior never waited for me made my shoulders slump a little. With so many business meetings to attend, she might have forgotten about our dinner already. Oh, that reminded me. I took out my phone and hit send to deliver that email over to Excelsior. Since I only had a backpack on, the security guard let me through much faster than those with suitcases. So to be one of those rich people with a million things to carry. Oh, right. With that, I stepped outside the airport and greeted the sight of Melbourne for the first time. Achievement unlocked. Melbourne. Was it weird to grin just because the taxis here were yellow instead of red? For those well-travelled, probably. As for me, I wanted to snap photos of every single thing that looked different. The road before me consisted of almost nothing but taxis. I guessed in just about any country, taxis loitered in airports like mosquitoes buzzing around a bed. The pigeon count here sure was high. Some perched on those trees planted along the road, while others scavenged the footpath for scraps. A limousine drove into the scene, its white bonnet glistening under the morning sunlight. As a crowd gathered around the vehicle, I joined in to see what was up as well. After flashing its indicators, the limo steered into the taxi lane, taking up 2 car spaces with its long frame. The taxi behind it gave one long honk, followed by a series of short beeps. The limousine and taxi drivers climbed out of their vehicles and stomped up to one another. I gulped as if if I was the one getting into a fight. The limo driver dug a hand into his suit pocket and pulled out a stack of $100 notes. With a flick of the wrist, he slapped these notes right across the cab driver's face. As if a man's pride could be sold this easily. Come on, taxi man, time to fight back and make his common folk proud. Thank you, my good sir, have a pleasant day, the taxi driver said. With a bow, he took the money and crawled back into his car. Rich comes 1, everybody else 0. Light rays peered through the automatic doors next to me. Jesus Christ, are we in the Matrix? Shielding my brows with a hand, I spun and saw Excelsior walking out with a guard on each side. She exited the plane first, so I thought she was long gone. Maybe she went to the loo or something? I guess celebrities need to relieve themselves too. Excelsior's sparkles explain why the place has suddenly turned so bright. Her shoes crossed each other as she pranced along like a model. The 2 guys shoved each other as they fought over the right to open the limousine door for Excelsior. They had the same face, so I thought they would respect one another, but nope. While they wrestled, a third guard popped out from the limo's rear door. With a smile, he clicked the front passenger door open. Excelsior blew him a kiss as she entered, causing him to pass out. The limousine driver came out to close the door for Excelsior before returning into his car. He guessed shutting the door was too bothersome for our goddess here. Excelsior pulled up a tinted window, and the limousine drove off, leaving one guard out cold and two others stranding in the parking lot still elbowing one another. I recalled having a dream one time about riding a limousine. In reality, I would need a Kickstarter just to buy a new bicycle, with perhaps a spare wheel as a stretch goal. Not to worry though, as I said, I had already purchased a ticket for an express bus that would take me straight into the city. Speaking of which, I spotted an express bus pulling up to the curb to my right. Only a dozen or so people were waiting in line, so there should be enough space for me to get on. Hello. At the front of the queue stood a staff in orange vest. That scanner in his right hand must be used for checking tickets. I unzipped my backpack and pulled out a piece of paper with my ticket barcode on it. The page might be crumpled up, but that should be no trouble for the scanner. As I walked up to the staff, I smirked at the unprepared folk rushing to buy tickets from a booth to the side. Have fun missing this bus, suckers. The staff lowered his scanner of my ticket. Several beeps came out the scanner, no doubt to indicate I was good to go. The ticket has expired, the staff said. ... Why would you do that? The staff pointed at the date printed on my ticket. You bought this 4 months ago, but our tickets are valid for up to 3 months. He shook his head. I'm sorry, but you'll have to buy a new pass from that booth over there. With my head hanging low, I shuffled over to join those people I had called suckers just seconds ago. Yeah, one more sucker coming right up. After buying a new ticket, which by the way meant no more breakfast money, I ran for the bus only to have its doors close in my face. I doubt Excelsior ever had to suffer a similar ordeal. Oh, and Mr. Ticket Guy, I saw you laughing, so no need to hide it. Good thing these buses showed up every 10 minutes or so. I hopped onto the next one and off I went towards Melbourne Central Business District, the CBD as people call it. What a face. As the bus drove along a bridge, I snapped more photos of the yellow taxis that sped by. I also clicked my phone at some of the road signs passing overhead. Traffic lights here let out different beeps from the ones back home. Also, the red crossing man blinked instead of the green one. These simple differences were enough to make me smile. In just under 30 minutes, the bus stayed into a parking lot. I read online that these express buses terminated at Southern Cross Station, so this must be the place. Indeed, as the bus came to a stop, the driver said something like, "Welcome to Southern Cross Station." His voice sounded muffled as my ears were still ringing from the flight earlier. The front door folded open, and with only a backpack to carry, I managed to worm my way out before anyone else. This dimly lit parking lot smelled a little too dusty for my taste. I could imagine some horror movies being filmed in here. Sunlight peeked in through a pair of automatic doors ahead. It must be the way out then. Either that, or Excelsior just happened to be standing outside lighting up the place as she always did. After adjusting my backpack straps, I let... Jesus Christ, trying to say that 3 times fast, whilst drunk, and high, and dead. I left this bus terminal behind and stepped out onto the city streets. A pair of trams drove past me from either side. That left one was a box-shaped model that looked quite ancient. The tread to my right by comparison looked like it came from the future. Those green and yellow carriages appeared spotless as if they had arrived fresh off the factory. Pardon me, printed along the middle carriage were the words, "Your next generation tram." I see photos of these trams online, but seeing them in real life brought me a whole new level of excitement. Hopefully I would have a chance to ride one before this trip ended. That bus driver had said something about us arriving in Southern Cross Station. I spun around and indeed there was the station sign displayed under the blue sky. The station's roof took on a wavy pattern, reminding me of ocean waves or those graphs I never quite figured out back in math class. If I walked to the other side of the road, I should be able to get a better view of the station. I skipped up to a crossing and pressed the button on the lamppost. As I waited for the light to turn green, I noticed a dozen blue bicycles lined up by the curb before me. The word Melbourne was printed in white along each of their frames. There was a machine of some sort sitting next to each bike too. I guess these were rentable bicycles, yet another foreign concept that fascinated me. The green walking man appeared and I checked both sides while I crossed the road, just in case trams follow different rules or something. I had no idea how these trams and cars managed to navigate around one another on the same road. Then again, this might be why I never got myself a driver's license. After reaching the footpath opposite, I pulled up my phone to snap a photo of Southern Cross Station. Please look after me, Melbourne, for I had just become an official tourist. Jesus Christ, so bright. Time to take out the hand-drawn map I had left in my backpack. See, I came prepared. I sketched the city's layout just in case my phone died, the internet died, or knowing my luck both. This map might be a bit crumpled from the flight, but for a 2-day trip it should do the trick. I felt like a pirate hunting for treasure. Not only did I put together a map, I had also planned out a schedule to ensure no time went wasted. I traced a finger along the route to my first destination, Hosier Lane. For an artist like me, there was no better place to kick off this trip. Hosier Lane was an alley that showcased artwork sprayed by local street artists. Legally approved ones, just to clarify. Melbourne really seemed to respect the sweat and tears of artists. Maybe if I sold my calligraphies on the streets here, I would have better luck than I did back home. To celebrate Excelsior's event tomorrow, I heard Hosier Lane now featured works from local calligraphers. Hopefully stopping by for a visit might bring me some inspiration. I arrived at the alley and, well, calligraphies had indeed been painted across the brick wall before me, however they all looked smudged like makeup ruined by tears. I guess the works had to be wiped for the next set of artists, but they could have at least waited until that Excelsior show ended tomorrow. My works never received any attention, and I felt pleased that the calligraphers here suffered the same treatment. I loathed this part of me, the part that yearned to lure everyone into my abyss. Excelsior, on the other hand, had soared too high for me to bring her down. With her work shown in museums across the globe, she had no need to fight for space in an alley like this. In fact, one clap of her hands and she could probably buy this entire lane. Just pocket change, as she would probably say. Successful people like to set up tents on the mountain peak, leaving no room for new climbers to fit. If I ever reached stardom, I swore I would act differently. Excelsior shouted me a meal, and now here I was complaining behind her back. Maybe I should change my name from Vinty to Envy. With nothing to really look at here, I might as well leave. Okay, I'm gonna end off here. Still no options to, do. It's really surprising. It's quite different from the first game. Just no options. It's just a straight up visual novel. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for watching. I shall see you all next time for some more Without Within 2, where we're gonna keep looking around Melbourne. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Good. Bye.
First off, I have to meet with them. But where the heck are they? I told them when my plan was to begin, I figured they could come to meet me. I think it does that. I've done that every time I've started playing this game. Since the hit that Professor Lemon Curious village was,